What's up, fam? It's Lone Wolf. So they crushed my Jeep that I was working on. So today I'm working on a 3.7 V6. I'm just gonna do another teardown video. So here, let's get started here. So kind of see what we got going. Just linkage out of here really quick. Okay, I took off a few parts here, but not a lot. So I just took off a few things, so just to get started. I'm gonna climb up in here for a second and start popping clips off. So we just got that undone, so we're gonna make our way through. So yeah, unfortunately my teardown video only went so far with the other cars, so I'm going with another one here. But hope you guys are doing well. Today is a nice day out here again. Still just kind of waiting, but just pulling some foils, pulling this thing all the way down here. So that one pulled a stud with it. So for this video, I'm going to try a few different things out here. It takes a deep there. Okay. This one is much different than the V8, so just the bolts, the way it comes out, pretty much everything about it is different. So we're gonna start pulling it. I don't know what you guys can see here, so 13mm clip in the back here, so. Mind you, I'm not spending too many times on clips, so I'm cutting stuff. Just a heads up. So we're gonna work on the top here, and then we're gonna take out our bottom pieces. So the exhaust, I'm gonna shoot the exhaust. I'll probably take you down there for a little bit, but right now just kind of working through everything and seeing how that's gonna go for us. So one of the differences with this one is it has an AC, so that's one heads up here. So a lot of these harnesses, I'm just gonna clip them, but there's clips to them. So mind you, this is if you were in a junkyard, not in your own vehicle. It's kind of a teardown just to show people different things, just like the last one, just a little bit different. I went home last night and kind of figured out a couple things to get this to go quicker, and my battery died partway through, so went home and charged it, and kind of trying to get it all done and see how it goes. But this one I'm going to be pulling the intake with it, so just a heads up on there. So I'm not necessarily going to be pulling a throttle body and doing that type of stuff. I'm just working alone today. I don't really have much going on, so you know how it is back in the junkyard doing stuff. But pulling an alternator. I'll try and move as quick as I can through it. Obviously I can't skip corners on certain things, so y'all will see, y'all will see. AC Delco real quick. So once again, I don't know how much you guys can see here, but kind of sucks. I'm having to use a switch up here, so okay. Set some tools up top. So 2 15mm and a 14mm. I'll load this thing once I'm done here, but 15mm on the AC compressor. This has been discharged already, at least I hope it has. So 14s. I'm shooting some tensioner bolts here. Okay, let's switch up to 14. We're kind of working the front here. I don't know if you guys can see very well, so I'm trying to, that's probably a little too weird. Looking for a good spot. Maybe there. Okay. 3.6 doesn't come with a manual fan on it. It comes with an electric fan. I took it out before starting the video. Kind of cut corners a little bit, so mainly to save battery time. Another 13. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna pull this tensioner real quick. So tensioner has to come off before the water pump comes out. Okay. There's your water pump. Obviously didn't enough. Alright. Up here for just a little bit. AC clutch. That one should be on the pin, but I think we can pull it like that with a 12 maybe. It's all millimeter. Switch over here. AC's discharged, of course. Let's move that back here. There's your pressure valve right here. If your AC goes out or it's not clicking on, change that valve right there. Something I learned about the Jeep and other vehicles, so pay attention to it. Okay, so I think we got a where's my extension? Already losing crap here, so give me a break. I'll move this out of the way. For the AC, there's two front mount bolts up here. So one way to get these loose is to grab a pry bar or a bar and lift it up. Kind of got to squeeze it out like an alternator, but move the fuel lines a little bit. Okay, AC compressor. I got some room to work here, so we'll work on getting this intake off too. They're really not that bad to get the intakes off. It's easier than the V8, so you don't have to pull valve cover gaskets on this one. Just pry it up in there. So if you look at it, oh, let me pull my D10. I'm working through this one quick today. But so for intake, you have a bunch of these 10 millimeters here. You're going to need a deep socket for them, so be aware of that. So what I wanted to know was if you could pull the this with the throttle body still on, so that's something I was more or less interested in. So maybe a mini impact would fit in there, I don't know, but trim tool. Mind you, I cut clips this time. I'm not really wasting too much energy on it, so this is just kind of the tear down of what needs to happen first type of thing. So say you got a bad intake gasket, you know kind of what you're getting into. The last one I found, you have to, the 5.2, you have to pull your valve covers, or at least one of them, to get the intake gasket done. So that was just a finding that I got from that. I have little harness clips like this. I have a harness to go to and use a trim tool. Okay. These clips right here, you can see it, they push this way. I'll show you. You have to hold them still and push them and unclip them. In this case, I'm just cutting stuff, so Clipped it. I still got some shit in here, so look in there. Cut that out. So we're gonna work through this quick. We need our 10mm here. And kind of hold it up for you guys so you can see. You got a 10mm. There's one in the back here. You cannot really reach that one with this, so you're gonna need a ratchet. Really deep. I don't know how easy this is to see here, but that might work out. So I don't know what you can really see from that camera angle. I'm still getting used to it, to be honest. So starting to get loose. Going back here. Pull. We just got to get some stuff disconnected here, so back up on you. Let's pull some coolant hoses, or vacuum hoses, sorry. That one goes to your PCV, by the way. It goes right next to your oil cap, so PCV on the 3.7 is right there next to the oil cap. Okay. I don't have an 8mm on this side. It's kind of troublesome. Kind of see what we got going here. Reach in and grab some snips. I'm going to cut the linkage here because I don't have to mess with that too much. What I'm wondering is how that linkage comes out. So messing with that, the fuel rail's in by 2 8mm, and I have I have an 8 on me, but I don't have the 1/4 inch again. I don't know why I didn't grab a step down. That was stupid. It's cool. So you can see the front here. Water pump comes with a thin gasket here. I usually use RVT. Moving through it, your fans just bolt up. They were zip tied, but they sit in a clip holder here in this model, so a lot different than the 5.2. Once again, I didn't bring it. I kind of running out the door today, so just trying to get stuff done, get some coffee in me, and let's get started here. So I'm kind of taking a break from the books right now, trying to get these Jeeps figured out. And really, it's just kind of me messing around in the yard and maybe answering some questions for people that are about to do a repair or this or that. So that might be the answer to this here. So pick this up. Not really sure what's holding that in. Come around the back here and see. A ground strap there, so I can shoot the ground with the back wall. Okay. two out. Shoot some right here. Still hanging on to something. Okay, so on the back, this is what was holding us up from taking the intake out, okay? So connected to your oil dipstick tube, it's attached to your intake. So before you take it out, you need to remove that. It's sitting in the back, so it's a little tough to get to. But in our case, I should So when you're doing your intake gasket and you replace your gaskets, you can see on the bottom they fit in there, 3 on each side. Get mass airflow sensor cleaner or air intake cleaner. Clean off each of these sensors. Idle air control, throttle position sensor. Those are the 2 sensors I could find on here that you need to clean. So that's going in there. Okay, let's keep looking here. There's your NOx sensor right there, okay? So if you're doing your intake gasket, you might as well replace this NOx sensor. It's attached to a clip right here. They're easy disconnects. You push them in, so okay. This, you push them in like that so it snaps, and you pull them. So now you're free. You got 2 of them. One there, one there. One for each side. So for your NOx sensors, one of these was replaced. So this one uses a 13. At least I think it was. It might be that it just comes this way. I don't know. But a 13 on one side. Use an extension or a ratchet. And use a 10. One of these might have been replaced with a different bolt. It might just come that way. One's a 13, one's a 10. I'm not really sure. So I might look on another 3.7 and see what the answer is to that. But injectors, kind of tuck stuff out of the way, okay? So we're gonna start shooting valve cover bolts here. All right. Valve covers are not that hard to get out of this. They just take some time, that's it. So just know that. I'm gonna set you back. I'm looking good for a good place to hold the hood here, but I think the hood's gonna be the spot for you. Okay, 3rd one. I think there's a 3rd one on the other side, I'm not sure, so. Okay, see if we can pull on it. Yeah, there's one on the other side there, so. We'll come back to that. We're gonna get some injectors off, so. Yeah. Pull this out of the way so you can see 8mm there. Once again, use a socket and impact. This is gonna kind of slow me down a little bit today, but these water pumps on these are really easy. The electric fan, this and that. I mean, it's pretty much like a 30-minute job if you know what you're doing. So you can fly through them pretty quickly. It's just a matter of how good or how well your job is, because you can do cleanup in here if you want to. That's what I do. I spend my time doing a lot of cleanup, and if you get a steam cleaner, it helps a lot. So you can get like a battery powered or a plug-in steam cleaner. It works pretty well, man. It's something I would advocate for. If you're doing any of your car repairs, get a steam cleaner for in here, and you can really work your magic. So oh crap, that one ain't gonna go, huh? Not good. See if I can spin it. Oh, there we go. Open end saved me there. There's 2 of these rail bolts They're just tiny. They're tiny little things. If I would have brought an 8, this thing would be out already, so I'm going slow through here. Just through the rail part. The valve covers, they might be a little bit tricky to get out. We might need a wobble, I'm not really sure. So I'll give you guys a nice tool list on it, on what I used and what else I would recommend. So okay, that's pretty much free. So these clips are the same way on these injectors. They got a red pin here, so you have to pull them out. Personally, I'm just cutting them. Okay. Pull them out. Okay, we got our injector rail out and our injectors. Get that over here. I don't know what I just do with my 10. Oh, I got my 10 right there. Okay. Sorry, I'm losing track of tools. So we're gonna pull this hose in the back. That's an air hose here. The trim tool in there. Just trying to squeeze it in there if we can, but maybe we just pull that out. Okay. So for the harness, you want to free up your harness as much as you can here, okay? So you can lean it off to the side, get it out of the way. Okay. Put you over right there. There's one in the back there too, so you got one in the front here that's blocked, you see? So it's impossible to get that thing out of there unless you take off the dipstick tube. Well, you might be able to get a bite on it, but not really, so. It's hot out here, man. Well, actually, these aren't AC, these are, sorry, hold on a second. So before we go any further to get these valve cover bolts out, we have to remove the heater core lines. So the clips are facing the other way. That's not good, okay? So, okay, there's one. Flip these around. I don't know how much you can see, but you're gonna use a nice pair of pliers. Okay, and we got our heater core lines off. There's another clip there, okay? It mounts to the back of this. So you can grab a trim tool like so, okay? That was down in that hole down there, so that dipstick tube out. Working on this last heater core here. Prying on this mount, trying to get it up. Dude, this ain't easy. This one's in there. I don't understand why it's in there so bad, but socket for it to get it out, so you need a deep 8. I did it with a wrench. I was able to do it with an 8mm wrench, but it's complicated that way. Just mind you, it's going to be a little different. So okay, there's one more bolt down there right here. So it was dirty. I just breaking the shit anyway, so okay. Now we can reach other things like right here. So you got a piece where the harness goes on. Pop that off. Now we can move the harness a little bit more. Still got that back piece to worry about. I'm just gonna get it. There we go. Okay. So I use the trim tool, kind of pounded it in, but shift your other heater core hose down, okay? We're taking air box out. In order to move forward, you have to get this air box out. You pull. Let me show you. It sits, these two, it sits in 2 grommets down there. So that's how you get the air box out. There's a third one right there. So air box 1, 2, 3. No bolts. Usually I find bolts in there. I was kind of scratching my head. So bolts. Once those heater core lines are out of the way down there, it's really easy. But the valve covers on these, pull them. What I'm switching up to is a swivel head with an extension on it. I can turn it just barely, okay? My valve cover off, alright? So our timing setup is in here. We got a chain and some guides. Okay. Pretty sure the faceplate of the pump is about to come off, so let's look underneath here, okay? There's a bolt behind the harmonic balancer. And probably one on the other side right there. So that's what's hanging us up. Talk a little bit more about kind of what I needed. It was way different than the 5.2. This car, I needed 8mm sockets, 13 10s, 10 deeps. I did not use a 12mm. As far down as we got to right here, if you were to tear your car down this far, I would do your knock sensors, your intake gaskets, your valve cover gaskets. This one I could take out. I'm just kind of taking off one side to show you. It runs a chain. It actually runs 2 chains. So it runs one on the inside, one on the outside. You can see how it runs this way and how it runs that way. It kind of crosses. It's right in front of it. So if you're down this far, I'd replace your coolant temperature sensor, your belts, your tensioner, your pulleys. Use gray Permatex with the water pump gasket. What else can I tell you here? The other thing I would recommend is doing your spark plugs. They're straight up and down in there, so spark plugs aren't that hard. You can just pull your coil packs and yank them out. So you don't need to go this far, but if you're going this far, I would go intake gaskets, knock sensors, valve cover gaskets, spark plugs, coils if you wanted to. Do your water pump, your tensioner, your thermostat you might as well do. Take off the 2 8mm, pop it out, switch it out. When it comes down to here, that is your coolant bleeder nipple right here. So you back it out with a hex socket. Once again, run it till there's bubbles, especially if you replace your pump. If you do not do that and you don't burp your system like that, you'll blow the gasket on here. So pulling heads on these, I'm probably not going to pull heads on them today. I got down to where I pulled the valve cover. My findings were that the only hard parts that I came across for the valve cover itself, you have to pull off these 4. So get an 8mm socket to pull the oil filler hose or the oil filler spout off the nose. That bolt was challenging. So you have to use an extension with a socket. You can't just shoot it out with an electric impact, anything like that. This harness clip that sat on the back here, which was for the heater core, that one was, or sorry, this one here. This one here, I mangled it, but this one was really hard to get off. I don't know why that gave me so much trouble. Maybe if I had a bigger trim tool, Maybe there's a secret to it, to the clip I was looking at here, but I don't think so. I think it's just pretty straightforward. You have to push the threads through. The stud is on there, so it's pinned in butt.